Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Malkin with me, Don. Let's finish exploring this area and then continue towards the Bonnyjoy Inn. He's at the edge of a meadow. Wind rustled at the grasses and wildflowers. It carried sweet scents with it. Gentle music came from somewhere beyond, but it was very faint. They couldn't tell what instrument or voice made it. The grasses bent aside, a furrow, an invitation. Donna found an unmarked grave in a clearing at the edge of the meadow. A big sycamore stood above it. He investigated further. The grave had signs of recent disturbance. A little loose earth, places where there was soil instead of grass or weeds. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Quick save, and to battle. A portal appeared on the threshold where the green meadows met the dark woods. And the usher is vulnerable to poison. I'm gonna soften up that guy so that when my character kills this guy, swordplay will proc, and maybe take him out. Oh, he moved up. Well, that's not how that's supposed to go. $77 dross. I can't move here, so we have to take this guy out, I guess. Dang it. Dang it. Take him out. I can move there on my next turn, but can't land our hit. There we go. The moss flew into the gloom of the western woods. I think I went the right way. A noxious-looking plant grew here. Vivid scarlet tipped its drooping, pale violet flowers. It had big, spiny, poisonous seed pods. Donald knew what it was. Bloody thornapple. He collected some. And what does that do? Does 3 poison, normal, and acid damage. Each has a base 60% chance of working, and each targets a different saving throw. Will, reflex, and fortitude, respectively. The Enchanter's Gloves. Not a big fan of those. I'll sell those. when the opportunity arises. The trail was clearer and better worn than the paths in other parts of the woods. Through the trees, Donald saw a homey-looking building. Faint noises of talk, laughter, and music came from it. And I believe it should be to the south. But we'll double check so we don't waste precious daylight. Yep. A path wound through the trees here to the road. The name Enzabar was carved into the marker nearby, along with an arrow pointing west. But there's nothing for Donald and Enzabar. He turned his back on the exit. I'll quick save and enter the inn. The common room of the Bonnyjoy Inn was crowded. A few dozen souls sat at tables and on one another's laps, leaned on posts, and slunk in corners, laughing, dancing, clapping, singing, falling asleep, and gossiping. The presence of all this human mirth at the very border of the wilderness might be surprising, but society is like a weed, opportunistic and fond of borders. For a moment, the lively scene made Donald felt a pang of loneliness. He remembered how things used to be in his village, before witchcraft, before he left. What it was like having neighbors and friends. Alright, I don't have a way to progress. I've pressed the one key, I've tried clicking. So, I'm gonna throw in an edit, and I guess we try this again. If it doesn't work, then we'll just do something else for now, but... I can't do anything here right now, so I'll be right back. And welcome back. So I couldn't get it to work. We're gonna backtrack and do something else for right now. And return to the inn at a later date. Real quick, let's take a gander at the map. I think we're gonna head east towards the Meadow. Yeah, it should be a straight shot. Well, almost a straight shot. Donald heard a noise in the underbrush. An animal? A bird? Something more sinister. Steven stepped out. No portal this time, and she had no sack. Instead, she held up a mound of woodland flowers and fruits. Heirloom tomato heals 10 to 23 hit points. The herbalist gloves. We will buy the key of Dross, as always. So should I sell mine? A holly ring. Oh, it's only beneficial. Plus 2 fortitude and plus 30% cold resistance. I'll take that. And the pig onion. Have enough for for that right now. We can sell a couple things, though. I'm going to sell the Enchanter's Gloves. And I think that's it. I'll buy another Bishop's Satchel. What does the Careless Poppy do? That's pretty good. Spent all but 4 of our dross. Donald could hear the words of the song now. There are other ways to go, so many ways. But you should know, I wanted you to stay behind. Tired and impatient, Donald pushed onward through the timothy, rushes, and thistles. It was warm, unkindly hot. The song promised coolness and relaxation. The music came from the east, and the grasses bent aside as if opening a way for him. A little path went through the grasses to the north, too. Oh, do I want to go north or continue east? Let's continue east for now. And deal with the main quest objective, and we can do the DLC content after. That's interesting. I don't think we've seen any other areas with movement. We've seen this song outside the House of Gladness, where sweetest yellows paint the breath that fills desire's hollows. Why do things that speak resist? Lie down in dappled places, rest, the lovely moments tyrants to your will. Donald fought against sleep. I'm not here to rest, I come with questions. So dream a while, let music mix with sleep. A stranger sense of things come trickling down. The rose and topaz bunches where we sing. More truth in rest than in the waking world. Less falseness too, because what's false comes forth by accident, without design. As the bird sang, his drowsiness intensified. The wide meadow receded from sight. Golden light filtered through the greenery onto a bed of moss beneath the vine. Flowers with pale, liver-shaped petals sprang up around it. Hey, Lord Pontic's experience once again. A knot did not move. Pharaoh tucked his head into his wing. Wicked Anne crossed Donald's mind, but the young witch could tell she was far away. The kami inspired dread in her the way she inspired dread in normal people. Donald tried to resist the spell. It was pointless. The birds changed their tune. The dark terror of nightmare jolted the young witch. Mayfly skimmed the deeps. A child went into the woods. A city died overnight. Donald saw the window of a ruined temple. He looked inside. Malkin sat at the table while Middle One made breakfast. He knew Eldest Lady was ready to pounce, so he made a show of languid carelessness, crouching back in his chair and gazing blankly out the window. Malkin, Eldest Lady said, I have something to discuss with you. What? But he knew what. Malkin was speaking, but Donald felt like he was the one speaking. It was not very comfortable. You took my grimoire without asking. What did you learn? I didn't understand it at all. You lie. I was disappointed, he said, surprised by his own honesty. Disappointed. There's no witch alive who dare say such a thing. There are few who dare open that book, even if I let them. Yet you sit in my house and say it's disappointing, as if it were a pie or a naughty child or some other trivial thing. What more do you want, Malkin? You don't have what I want. You say that, yet what haven't I given you? He continued to stare out the window as she spoke. It annoyed Eldest Lady, which is why he did it. The trees were budding. He observed their beauty, but it didn't move him. Eldest Lady scowled while Middle One, always skirting conflict, began cutting bacon. That book contains a third of my power. You've seen only a little of what I can do. What has it gotten you? I've spent hundreds of years in idleness and contentment, rich with power I don't need to use. Can you say the same? You say you want more because you haven't enjoyed enough. What is it you want, Malkin? What are you after? That depends, sister. What was he before? Put in Middle One. Well, I know how you think. You tire of the coven. You tire of us. You look at how we live, and what our pleasures are, and say to yourself, these two witches have nothing left to teach me. You want something you don't have words for. You dress your wants up in fine clothes, pretend they have beauties they never will. No, that's not right. I want more than that. Sister, he wants a riddle. He wants a riddle when simplicity would do the trick. He'd see our faults in crystal and muddy the waters over his own. Be human, Malkin, she said almost kindly. Be satisfied with the desires time gives you, and don't look for better ones. They'll change, of course, but what doesn't? Those desires are gifts. Accept them. I refuse, he said. Visions flitted by. A bloody sword, a cup full of viscous white fluid. A dead leaf among other dead leaves. He was still looking out the window. Middle One wanted to say something but didn't. Eldest Lady watched Malkin carefully, her mind full of trepidation and misgivings. They had shown her what he was. She had doubted. She did not doubt now. Indignant, she made her decision. You're more impatient than I was, Malkin, she said. She brought out the grimoire. More impatient and less easy to please. I'd taken wisdom slowly. You'd have it all at once. Maybe it was wrong of me to expect a young man, any young man, to be as I was. Very well. I give up. She held up the book. This work can't be read as other books are read. That's where you went wrong. That's why you're unsatisfied. There are many ways to read it. You chose but one. You missed the greater part of its wisdom. Then teach me how to read it. That's what I'm here for. I'm ready. I was ready before the coven, as you well know. I'm ready now. That is not for me to do. You want the wisdom of spirits. Take the grimoire to them. They are the proper teachers for you now. The kami. They're dangerous, and yes, they could kill you. But the witch who dare steal my grimoire might demand things of them and live. Go to them without fear, and they'll be less tempted. Time passed. Malkin was gone, but Donald was still there. A ghost of himself standing by the window where Malkin had stood. Middle One came in from the garden crying. He won't be coming back. He stole from us, lied to us, betrayed us. He takes and he covets all the worse for not understanding what he covets. He's bad, Middle One. I saw into his heart. If I am wicked, he is wickedness. Why should he come back? He is bad and young, and we are bad and old. We're bad and old and a good deal more sensible. But he's full of such beautiful memories. Not bad looking either. In that he was common, a blushing milkmaid of a witch. Common. We will not see his like again. I think we will. The grapevine grew out of Middle One's mouth, the cluster saying, the witches will deny their treachery. Better now to go to him yourself. Woodsman's child knows which path to take. The birds went silent. Then they began to fall from the vine, head after head. The vine went yellow and wilted. A second spirit showed the young witch another vision of Malkin. In it, Malkin admitted to reading Eldest Lady's grimoire, and was told to seek help understanding it from the kami. After the vision faded, the spirit told the young witch that the woodcutter's son could reveal more about Malkin. Good news is we have a fast travel point to get back to the woodcutter's son. Before we do that, we have this path to tread. The narrow path wound north through the meadow. Donald thought he was heading back to the woods, but the forest never got any closer. Instead, he found himself in a clearing dominated by a cairn of white stone and green grass. The character of the meadow had suddenly changed. No breeze rippled through it. All was silent. The sun was watery and wan. Quick save and enter. There was an alcove in the cairn. It was a bronze slab that had one point served as a door. But now, half buried in earth and rock, it would never open or close again. It only partially covered an entrance to what must have been an underground burial chamber. Donald felt clammy and suddenly cold and nervous. Then he saw something moving quickly out of the corner of his eye. Two unmounted knights, one in gold armor, one in silver, fought in front of the cairn. Blade met blade without a sound. Their armor shone only dully in the pale sunlight. They had no shadows. Then the knight in gold armor held up a gauntleted hand. "Hold, opponent, hold. There's someone here." The knight had a feminine voice. It sounded distant and hollow. The helm of the silver knight turned in Donald's direction. A witch disturbs our endless contest. Strange. The silver knight spoke in a masculine voice, also distant and hollow. "You are ghosts," Donald managed. "Our bodies lie in enviable rest below," the gold knight assented. "What are you doing here?" The silver knight lifted his visor. There was nothing inside. Donald had learned to look on ghosts without flinching, but the empty helmet filled him with dread nonetheless. "We are two knights who killed each other here, trading fatal blows, and now we always fight, unless some traveler pass and hear our tale. Don't ask us why we don't put down our swords. The will to do or not to do is circumscribed in death. Our death would be like life. Though all we want is peace, we're doomed to endless, pointless war." Donald felt faint and fearful. To speak to the dead was never easy. Hauntings. Then he thought of Wicked Anne, more dreadful by far than these two, but almost his servant. He laughed at his cowardice. "You killed each other. Why?" "We have no sense of who we were in life, no hint of what divided us. We forget our names. One forgets them too. We know no king, no country, clan, or kin. We know no god or even strong conviction. Past things are always dying with the present, and past beliefs among the first to go. I suppose you'd like my help." "Yes. We're not eager for eternity, young witch. But we don't know what you can do to help. If we knew our combat's ancient motive, what honor or what treachery once made us cross our swords, perhaps we'd stop. Or maybe an old injustice curses us, one for which you'll find a remedy. Or maybe some misconduct of our own enlists us in this fight to punish us, though ignorance blunts punishment's best end. Alas, that punishment must recommence. On guard." Two ghostly knights, one in silver and one in gold, were fighting outside the burial cairn. They wanted to stop fighting and asked the young witch for help, suggesting that knowing the origin of their quarrel might do the trick. The young witch would have to investigate the burial chamber beneath the cairn. With that, the two spectral knights clashed again, once, twice, then 3 times. Then they vanished. There was a way to help them. It lay beneath the cairn. Fair enough. Donald squeezed through the bronze door. Interesting. Alright, I think we'll save this for next time. And we will take care of this quest in the next one. I'm assuming, just at a quick glance, I assume if I step on this, I teleport to this. But we'll deal with that next time. For now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.